Okay, so here is a diagram of the different parts of the respiratory system. So I'm just going to go over each part with you. So again, when we inhale and we take in air, there are two places we can do that, our nose and our mouth. So that's diagrammed here. Remember that your nose is your primary source for breathing because it filters air better than the mouth. The nose is lined with cilia or tiny hairs that trap and eliminate particles, and it's also lined with mucus to moisten air. The mouth does not have those tiny hairs, but it does have mucus to moisten air. So if our nose becomes blocked, then we can breathe from our mouth. From there, and I'm going to skip over some of these features because we haven't talked about them yet, and we'll get to them more when we talk about digestive system. But once we inhale the air, and inhale means breathe in, it goes to the pharynx. And our pharynx is the scientific term for our throat. And the pharynx is a passageway for air, but it's also a passageway for food. So you'll see this reappear again in the digestive system. Your larynx, which was mentioned in the PowerPoint, is your voice box. And your voice box contains your vocal cords. So as air rushes past your larynx, it causes those vocal cords to vibrate, which is what produces sound. From your pharynx, we go to our trachea. And your trachea, again, is your windpipe. You can see those rings of cartilage that I mentioned in yesterday's video. And those rings of cartilage open and close. When they close up during an asthma attack, that's why you can't get air in. And it makes sense because if the air is coming from your nose and mouth to your pharynx or throat into your windpipe, if that's closed off, you're not going to be able to breathe. So when you take medication from an inhaler, it opens up those rings of cartilage, allowing air to flow down. Again, this is also the pipe where if you get food in it, so if the food goes down the wrong tube, and they're not showing the other tube here, which is your esophagus, but if the food goes down your trachea instead of your esophagus, it gets stuck. So the Heimlich maneuver is performed where air is forced up through your trachea to pop out the food. From your trachea, it branches off into the bronchi tubes, and you can see you have one bronchi tube, which is known as a bronchus, attached to this lung, and one bronchi tube, which is known as a bronchus, attached to that lung. Those bronchi tubes branch off into smaller tubes, which is only shown in one lung in this diagram, and those smaller tubes are called the bronchioles. It almost kind of looks like you have a tree branch inside your lungs. These here are obviously your lungs, your organs, your main organ for respiration. When you inhale, the lungs will expand and fill with air. And when you exhale, they will kind of, I don't want to say deflate, but they will lose air and get smaller as the air is leaving your body. The alveoli, which they've kind of zoomed in here, are the tiny air sacs. Remember, you have 600 million of them in your lungs. Tiny air sacs at the end of the bronchioles. This is the place of gas exchange. So the alveoli will take the oxygen from the inhaled air and put it into your bloodstream, and the circulatory system will carry it to your cells. The alveoli will also take the carbon dioxide, which is waste, out of your blood. The muscle here, this smooth, flat muscle, is called the diaphragm, which you can see is underneath your lungs, underneath your rib cage. Remember, your rib cage protects your heart and your lungs. And that's what's going to push the air in and out of your lungs. When you breathe in, it contracts and moves down. And when you exhale or breathe out, it relaxes and moves up to push the air out. So if we want to go in reverse now of how the air moves when we exhale, the alveoli is taking the carbon dioxide out of our blood, and now it needs to get out of our body. So it's going to go back through the bronchioles, to the bronchi tubes, up through the trachea, up the pharynx or your throat, and out mainly through your nose, but it can go through your mouth. So it's just the process in reverse. So those are some of the different structures. Today's video will show you them and explain them again. So there's one video from Kids Health, which is definitely kid friendly. And then the other video is going to be that graphic video I mentioned yesterday, which is lung dissection. So if you would like to watch it, you may. If you're a little squeamish or don't like things like that, then please feel free to skip over that video. Have a great day.